Hi, folks. I wanted to have a little talk with you about Yuba Water Agency. For the past few weeks, I've been going door to door throughout Linda and Marysville, walking for a candidate of mine that I believe in, that a lot of us believe in, and you're probably not going to see hardly anything but his signs up in the hills where him and John Messick brought peace, saved farmers that didn't get forced to sell their ranches or their livestock and their livelihood because they couldn't get water from some debauchery that was taking place by some elected officials who, even though these farmers had seen us through the pandemic and kept us in eggs with their egg handling license and hens or produce or whatever, some of the people who were no longer elected tried to take their water for irrigation purposes and sell it down south for a profit. John Messick and Charlie Matthews and Seth Fearer were instrumental in brokering a peace with some of us people from up in the hills that are a little hard-headed. Maybe we had been feuding, but with the leadership of these three people and the help of Manager Willie of Yuba Water Agency and pretty much everybody else on that agency, at least not fighting peace at that point in time, they all helped to bring it, but the main instruments were Seth, Charlie, and John Messick. Now, I've learned that a lot of you don't know what the agency is. And what the agency is it not only helps us with flood protection primarily, but anything to do with water. Now, pretty soon here, you guys are going to see a rebate, or I can't remember the exact words, but for the last 7 years, Charlie and some other people like Seth have been working to get us a discount on our power. Now, I don't know exactly what that is, and it's basically everybody would like it to be more, but the problem we have is the state and federal entities and rules have issues with giving gifts to the people who are their voters. Now, part of this, I believe, has a purpose of integrity and is trying to keep things from basically getting the way it has been, whether it's Panera Bread or PG&E able to kill people or whatever. There's rules that are supposed to prevent kind of favoritism and selling, buying votes and stuff is supposed to matter. But the agency also does other things in addition to this flood protection, and pretty soon what you're going to see on PG&E. It's also able to help with storm drains, and more importantly, what we have Seth Fearer and Charlie Matthews fighting for is to take clean Yuba River snowmelt water, which is practically distilled except for the minerals it picks up on the way down the Yuba River. And it's much better tasting than well water, much easier to clean, and the agency has a lot of revenue and water rights that it has to use in order to keep them. You can't just sit and stockpile reserves all the time. And many of you here in Marysville, Linda, and Olivehurst are suffering with well water that are high phosphates, nitrates. It might be safe according to state guidelines or even exceed those in cases like Linda County. I don't know how OPUD is doing on that, but I know Linda County is leading the way for our county. But safe doesn't mean taste, and it also doesn't mean healthy. Long term, you can create calcification issues with high phosphate water. Now, like I said, it's supposed to be safe. I can't deter from that because there's legal issues where, you need to say safe. But we all know that it would be better to drink a more neutral pH water that possibly was better quality to start before being ran through processing plants. It's a no-brainer. So while the water is safe, we all know how it tastes. So I want to just basically let you know that you might hear about some divisions with the pumpers this, pumpers that. Some of you don't know what that is. What that is, if you want to Google it, it's called water transfers. And there's a few counties who participate into it. That's a whole nother talk. But if you're voting and you've made it this long, I want you to know that it is important to vote for both Seth Fearer and Charlie Matthews. We need more people who are peacemakers, as there is division within the agency and the agency partners of the farmers, that we need to have a peace coming. There's something called the Yuba Accord that which in 2025 comes due, and I'll teach you more about that also in addition to water transfers. But if you have any questions about water, Many of you, I went door to door and I gave you Charlie's push card. You've got his phone number. Seth is very easy to reach on social media. So is John Messick. I would advise you to learn as much about water as possible. We are always having state and federal entities trying to come and take what our 2% of the state's population has, which is water, and now the energy being produced by that same water since we took ownership of Bullard's Bar Dam in 2016 after paying off bonds. But it's time for peace, folks, and you need to be advised and understand what your agency does and how it is, because we may very well have to fight to keep it. And we start that by making sure Seth Fearer and Charlie Matthews stay in office. Thank you. I hope you vote. I hope you cast your vote in person or by mail or however you're going to do it. But please vote. It's very important this year more than ever. Thank you.